Are systems nominal? Or are we just coming through on a black screen? It says live for 6 seconds, but I cannot see nothing. I cannot see myself. Stream health, excellent.
It says you're like maybe live.
Stream health, excellent. Stream feedback, 0. All I see is a black screen. In the end of time, there was a black screen. It's not looking positive, is it?
Oh, you're live.
Oh, lovely scenes, and it just came through on 6-second delay. Isn't technology magnificent?
You're talking.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Unboxable Kings Thursday live stream. We've decided to do it again this week. Last week was actually live but pre-recorded and then live. But this week's actually fully live as the systems share. And I just wanted to jump on for 20-30 minutes. I've got a few topics that I'd like to touch on. And like last week, we're drinking a Tangerine space machine. I don't know if this is going to take off. I haven't enjoyed this one as much as last week, but it's still been pretty good. And maybe it catches on. Maybe it becomes a weekly habit. Maybe it's something we've got a kick. Who knows? But anyway, I hope you've all had a wonderful week. Thursday evenings for me have always been a period of reflection, typically because Friday is not... It definitely is a work day, but it's definitely not the biggest work day of the week for the most part. My work is done for the week, really. That's how I set it up. Friday's like a in-between day. Saturday is then a swing day. Sunday off, and then Monday building up through the week. That's just how I structure it. So in previous versions of content production, this has been my release date for the biggest piece of content of the week. And now I bring you this live stream. We have topics to cover that are in the description, and we're going to get into them. So the first one is managing/dealing with hate when you're publishing content. And I made a video 2 days ago. It's like a food haul video. And I was pretty inspired when I made it. I didn't have a topic for the day, and then we went to Costco. And I was like, oh, well, we'll just talk about this for a while, share some thoughts, and share it obviously from a place of love and servitude, because I think that a lot of men don't know how to shop. They don't know how to source their own food. They don't make that a priority. And I think there's great benefit from doing so. So I made a video on that. If you can go and watch it if you want. And it actually picked up more traction than I expected it to. I didn't assume it would do bad, but I just thought, you know, with the early statistics, it wouldn't be favoured in the algorithm, but it actually has been favoured, and it's now getting viewed pretty consistently, which is an indicator of content that people want to consume. And obviously along with that, there seems to be a threshold where you reach a certain amount of people and you always attract negativity and haters. It's like a phenomena, and I've been experiencing that for a lot of years. I've been doing content for a lot of years on various different channels, different platforms, and I've also been coaching people. I'm working with people that I've done content to, and it's always the same. And every time it happens, I just theorize as to what it is. Like, what is it that causes that? Obviously it's a numbers game, and if you have 100 people in a room, you're going to get 3 people that are angry, blah, blah, blah. There's like the standard responses that everybody talks about. And then you've got like hurt people, which is definitely true. And hiding behind a username and commenting on somebody's video to express how they feel internally. Again, a pretty obvious thing, I think. If you've been in the content sphere, you'll have heard that from a lot of people. But I also sometimes wonder if it's like an unhealed part of me, because I do believe that we are creating our reality from what we believe internally and what we think internally. So if that is true, are the haters an unhealed part of me? Maybe. I think on that, obviously I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to tell you the answer for that. But I think on that, and because of that, the way I always respond is and I got this from I still have a notebook, but for many years, when I was traveling and meeting new people, I'd write down quotes that I heard from people that resonated and touched me in a certain way. And I remember I was out having a curry with a guy once, and we were talking about haters and negativity, and he said that the way he dealt with it is to just drown them in love. And I thought, and I remember writing that down. And I've taken that, and I think that's the only way, really, because you don't know who they are, you don't know where they are. So to drown them in love and just offer and show them love, because if they're commenting hate on the internet, regardless of if they are a part of me that's unhealed, that's just projecting and reflecting back to me, it's likely they're still just a person. And if they are putting hate out into the world, they are always a hurt person. So offering them love when you can, I think, is a great way to subdue and quell the impact on yourself and on your channel and on you. And I'm sharing this because a lot of the people, not everybody, but a lot of people that I work with, content and publishing becomes an aspect of the workflow because there's so many upsides to doing it. So it's almost definite that they're going to experience it too. And if you are publishing content and you've had haters, how you deal with it is important, because it can be something that really holds you back unnecessarily, and it can be something that you're afraid of unnecessarily. But if you see it as what I've just said, I think that it just becomes an obstacle that you navigate, and then you can work through it. And then it becomes something that you actually feel pretty sorry for. I always feel sorry for the haters, man. I was like, shit. I know there's been times in my life where I would never say I've been like a direct negative hater, but I've definitely shared negativity in certain ways. And when I was doing that was because I was in pain and lost, So the commenters and the haters, that's where they're at. There is no one that's whole in their life that shares that. It just doesn't happen. So that was the first topic. The second topic I wanted to talk about is a reflection on a coaching session that I had earlier on today. And it was pretty cool because it was an in-person one. And most of the coaching I've done, over the vast majority, like 95%, has been digital in the 2D internet sphere, which is obviously fine and it's great and it offers a ton of benefits. But doing it in person, I have done some of that, but today was like pure that. I met a local dude that we're helping unbox the king within him, and we met at a cafe. I got to drink espressos in yellow and green cups. It was dope. But it was nice to spend time actually in the 3D realm with him and help him on his journey. And every time I have a coaching session, I analyze how it went, what went well, what didn't go so well, and then draw on the takeaways, because the more data that I can harvest and accrue means that I can be of more service to more people in a more efficient way, because data is very important. So I'm always analysing and assessing. And when we were talking today, there were 3 factors that have surfaced again, that they always come up, always. And they always come up seemingly in my life, even when I'm not coaching people, especially men, especially the avatar I'm speaking to, which is a guy that feels he has a ton of potential inside, but feels a little bit boxed in by systems, beliefs, values, money, making a lot, making not a lot, still the same. Feels boxed in, and they want to tap into that potential and live as the king within. That's the dude I'm always talking to, and I see that everywhere. So I'm always finding myself coaching. And the 3 factors that I truly believe and know from experience turn the wheel the most, and I'm sharing these with you because I want you to gain the benefit from having the knowledge and understanding of the factors, because there's so many things that it can appear that we're working on. But I think that these 3 are like the base of the pyramid of change and growth. And if you have them in place, everything else becomes easier, because it's easy to focus on like tactics and the masculine stuff like strategy and method, logic, very, very masculine. But unless these 3 are in place, I think you're swimming upstream a little bit, and it's not necessary. So I want to share with them what I know they are, but you don't have to know they are. You can test it for yourself. But the first one is permission, and giving yourself or gaining permission to do what is on your heart. it may feel like it's on your mind, but it really is almost certainly coming from your heart. And giving yourself permission to actually do it, because if you went through a good boy factory, / you were once a boy, which we all were, and you never moved on into manhood, giving yourself permission is not something that you may have naturally learned how to do or taught yourself to do. And you definitely didn't have permission to do what you wanted as a boy, because you're always asking somebody, right? You're always asking, oh, mom, can I do this? Dad, can I do that? School teacher, dude, can I go to the bathroom? Can I go here? Can I wear this? You're always asking for permission, right? So if you never initiate out of boyhood into manhood, you're always going to be asking for permission to do what you want to do. And who's going to give it to you? Most people are going to say no, regardless of, like, especially if it's something that's, and this will tie into what we're going to talk about in a minute, but most people are going to say no anyway. Oh, you shouldn't do that. So you got to learn to give yourself permission, or gain permission from somebody that cares about you. That's a lot of the work that we do. Literally, a lot of the coaching that I do is like, what is it that you want to do? And they, oh, I have this idea to do this thing. And I'm like, yeah, go do that. And they're like, oh. And it's like the first time for a lot of men where they've been given permission to go do it. And you can obviously do that for yourself, but unless you've trained to do that for yourself and actually do it consistently and learn that as a skill, you're not going to do it. And if you don't get permission to do something and you're stuck in that boy mind, you're not going to do it, right? So permission is critical to change. And as I said, you can get that yourself, or you can connect with somebody that cares to give you the permission to tap in and do what's on your heart. After you've got permission, the next factor that is huge is encouragement. And these are all similar, all similar themes really, but encouragement is very important, because when you start to do new things, pivot, change, adjust, move into a new direction, it's probably going to be challenging, right? It's not going to be like sunshine and rainbows all the time. And the more men I spend time with, a common theme I get is that they're hard on themselves, they judge themselves, they get mad at themselves, myself included. I did that for years too. Obviously, I'm not just the same as you. I'm just at a different part of my journey in some ways. But there's no self-encouragement. And when there's no self-encouragement, there is equally no external encouragement for new endeavors that are illogical, irrational, unproven. But without encouragement, it's more difficult to just keep showing up and going through the actions required to cement the change and make the change actually sustain itself. So after you've got permission, then you need encouragement to continue onward with that. And again, you can give it to yourself, or you can gain it from community. That's why we do the community that we have, that you can access in the description. That's why we do the coaching for encouragement, continual. Hey, look, man, 2 weeks in, keep going. You're 90 days in, keep going. You're a year in, let's just keep going. You're doing great. You're getting better all the time. These small hinges swing the big door of actually continuing you on the path to being who you want to be. And if you don't have it, it's like running a car without oil from my perspective. It's just more difficult. So get encouragement. Give it yourself all the time, especially when it's difficult. But even when it's going well, encourage yourself to stay balanced and neutral and not overzealous. Learn to run downhill a little bit. And the third thing, which probably is underneath permission encouragement, is love. And the guy I was talking to today, out of all of the investigation that we did, love was his lowest self-assessment score. That's what he scored himself lowest on. And when we investigated it a little bit, he perceived initially that it was people external of him were not giving him love when times were difficult. He said that when things were going well, he felt loved. And when things were not going well, he didn't feel loved. And through the investigation and recalibration, what I helped him uncover was it was actually him not giving himself love, and then not receiving love. I don't know why my back is so itchy. I've got we've got this new washing powder. My back's itchy. I got itchy back. This guy wasn't giving himself love, right? and he wasn't therefore accepting love externally, even though, again, through the investigation, he found that he actually had loads of unconditional love in his life through his parents and his grandparents, his wider friends, family, community. But because he didn't have love for himself, he couldn't see that. That's no place to live, you know. That's a difficult place to live. That's a difficult place to experience change from. Because love, from my perspective, is the only currency that's actually real in this world. It's the only thing that actually binds humans together and creates true change, is love. So when you're looking to make changes and growth, sure, the strategy, the methodology, the business, the logic is important, but it's not underpinned by love. First and foremost, self-love for who you are, where you are, what you are, where you've been. If it's not underpinned by that, it's, again, like running a car without tyres. You might get somewhere, but you're going to be burning. Your rims are going to get chipped and burned out, and it's just difficult. And I don't see this spoken about too often. Most people are, in the self-development world, all about strategy and methodology, and they are important, but man, if you just plug into a community and people that love you and encourage you and give you permission to be who you are, everything else is easier. The strategy becomes so easy because you're playing from an empowered position, and you get all those three, you're going to see things click into place so much easier with way less friction. And I see this a lot. These are core themes that I've seen throughout my coaching experience, working with a lot of men, you know. And obviously there is an aspect of that I am creating the reality where that occurs. So feel free to test this for yourself, but I find it very difficult to believe that you will not see better, more improved growth and development when you have permission, encouragement, and love. These are three very intangible aspects of life. But get them, and I guarantee a lot is going to change, and it's going to change way faster, way more efficiently. The last topic, I'm just going to take a little sip here. The last topic I want to talk about is like these topics here. I'm testing what resonates, you know. They're going to be turned into bigger productions. But the last one, when I shared this title with the wife, she was like, "Oh, that's very artsy. Oh, you're sure that's very artsy?" I was like, "Yeah, it is fucking artsy." I get these ideas on my mind and heart when I'm in the shower, asleep. I'm always thinking about dudes. Kind of weird, isn't it, really? But what I wanted to talk about is navigating the pocket of irrationality. And this is a common theme that I've experienced in my own reality, but again, with the dudes I'm working with, because we're always, when you're unboxing the king within and you're trying to become him and live as him, a lot of it is pivoting, right, and changing the norm, changing what was known, changing who you've been, your story, your appearance, your actions, the way you make money, the way you are in relationships. There's a lot of change, there's a lot of pivoting. And for the most part, humans don't like that. We're very constricted. We like the known. So in my own reality of pivoting and split testing and changing and encouraging all the other dudes to do that too, there is a pocket of irrationality that needs navigating, and that is the time after the pivot occurs where it makes no rational sense to almost everybody except for typically yourself, and then people like me who just are like, yeah, I know where you're at. I understand. What you do makes no real sense. And a good metric for this that most people, I'll give you an example of this. A good metric for this for most people is money, because especially if you're doing like a new business or a new venture or a new juncture, as soon as it starts to make money, then more people can rationalize it. But in the interim period, there is a huge pocket of irrationality that needs navigating. So I'll give you an example to contextualize this. I started a poker stream about 3 years ago. And when I started it, I was living at my dad's house. I just got back from COVID travel and things were all up in the air, and I didn't know what I was doing. My other business had sort of gone away. So I was like, right, I'm going to do a poker stream. And my wife, girlfriend at the time, encouraged me to do that. And for the first like 12, 16 weeks, my dad could not understand what I was doing every day. Every day I'd go up to my room at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and stream. I'd play poker, I'd come back down, I'd eat dinner, I'd go back up, I'd stream poker. I was doing it all the time, 6-7 days a week, because it was COVID and there was not much else to do, and I fucking loved it. But it made no sense to him. It was at the pocket of irrationality. He was like, what is he doing? What is this guy doing? He didn't understand, and other people didn't understand. They were like, oh, you know, what's he doing? It's just doing a phase. It's just a thing. But then about 16 weeks in, it was started to go well. I was like gaining a following, and then this happened, and then I got a business out the back of it. Then I got a sponsorship, and all these things dropped in place to where I was making good money. And that was, as I said, a metric where we can often rationalize things is through money in this commercial fiat world that most of us find ourselves living in. Then most people were just like, oh yeah, that's just what he does. And the rhetoric and the way they perceived me was completely different. When I was going places, it was no longer like, for example, at the change rooms at football, it wasn't like, oh, what does he do? I don't know, he just does like a stream or a content thing or this weird energy of irrationality where they can't summarize what you're doing and it doesn't make sense to them and probably doesn't even make sense to you. The story and the rhetoric changes to just like, oh yeah, he streams poker. Yeah, he is just what he does. So that's what's going to happen. So it's important that you understand that that's going to happen, because during this pocket of irrationality, this period of time, you have to learn to deal with the emotions that not many people are going to understand you, and lean into the truth, lean into faith, lean into that this is normal. And it's like when you plant a seed in the garden, you get the land ready, you fertilize, you get all the soil, and you bang the seed in, and for a while nothing happens, you know. It's completely irrational. It's like, oh, I did all this, and then is that even going to happen, and da-da-da-da. And that really goes all the way through in a lot of ways to until it fruits, and then it makes sense, and then all the steps that happen were like, oh yeah, of course, that's what happened. But the first few times you go through the cycle, it can be very taxing on your emotions because you don't understand what is really happening. And again, the outside world, common theme of all of what I've spoke about tonight, the outside world is typically not going to be overly supportive, and that's why it is important, in my opinion, to get support, accountability, and direction and guidance from people who do this all the time with loads of different people, because then it's normal. And I've seen this so many times with coaching clients where it's like 6 weeks in and they're like, I'm just completely lost. I have no idea what's going on. This feels completely crazy. And 6 weeks ago it made sense. Now I'm in here and it's just like, take a deep breath. Let's just zoom out and breathe. Down-regulate the emotions. Shift them into parasympathetic. Slow the heart rate. Let them just like be in the moment. Then they're like, oh, okay. Irrationality is challenging, and that's why the vast majority of humans never ever change nothing, because it don't make no sense. It's better to just stay on the path, stay on the train, in the box, getting shipped down a path that you don't even really like, than it is to do the work to actually shift into, I'm going to get off this train, I'm going to get out this box, I'm going to go down that path that right now is kind of gravelly and rocky and I ain't got too many ideas of what's going to happen down there. Most people don't do that. They really don't, because it's easy to just stay in the norm, stay in the known. That's true. So if you can accept that there is a pocket of irrationality and then navigate it in the way I've shared, by getting support, by accepting it, by breathing your way through it, by not letting your emotions take over, and probably most importantly, not listening to the outside voices. Like, I was already trained in this because I'd already done previous businesses. I already experienced the pocket before. So when I was doing, for example, the poker stream, or when I'm doing this Unboxable Kings thing that from the outside we've been doing it for like 60 days and the channel's kind of small with subscribers and it's like, what is this? Then there's groups there, and from the outside looking in, I can imagine that some people are like, what is all of this? What's he doing? I've already been trained to just not let that dictate how I operate and act within this. And it was the same thing with the poker stream, because if you start to listen to the outside world, you start to listen to what the haters, the naysayers, the people who often love you and want to keep you safe, if you listen to their voices and what they're saying, it's very easy to just box yourself back up, get back on the train and go straight back on that highway to fucking Boringsville, where it feels safe, and then you give up on the potential, you give up on your dreams. And do you really want that? Is that really what you want? Do you want to get to like I always think about this, like, do you want to actually, like, really think about this? Because I spent a lot of time when I was having chemo thinking about, like, what if I actually fucking die in like a week? That was a potential for a while, you know. It's like, Jesus, that's mad to think about that it could all be over. So I thought about death a lot, and I always think about that, like, when I get to 65, 70, 80, however long this innings lasts, I don't want no what ifs. I don't want no, like, oh, what if I just did that, or oh, if I just tried that. I don't want any of that. I prefer to know what's down the rocky road, through the irrational cave, navigating it the whole time with people who, like me, it's not just me. I've got a network of people who live that same path. They're all on their own journey to living as king in their own kingdom too. They just get it, and then you all support each other, and then at the end of the journey, or halfway through, you dissolve the what ifs, and that's worth more money. You can't buy that. You can't go on eBay. You can't go on Amazon. You can't prime that. You can't prime, oh, get rid of all my what ifs. You just can't do it. You got to do the work. And the work, in a lot of ways, is learning to navigate that pocket of irrationality. And I wanted to share that with you because it's an important concept that you need to know, I believe, if you are looking to make significant change and pivot into what is on your heart, what is in here. Talked a lot there. 25 minutes. I said to the wife, I'm going to do 25 minutes and then go and eat a cannoli, because we're into cannolis at the moment. Big Don cannoli is what it is. I really appreciate everybody that's joined in here, whether that's live or on the replay. If you comment and interact with this, I'll catch up. Appreciate all the people that, you know, are supporting this channel, leaving comments, joining the community, doing the work, pursuing what's on their heart, because the world needs that. In my opinion, the world grows, everybody grows, your kingdom grows when you grow, you know, the world needs that. So I just appreciate everybody out there doing the work and facing all of what goes into that. I appreciate you. I've got love for you all. And I wish you a wonderful rest of your Thursday on the 8th of August, 2024. Thanks for being here. Much love. I've been Joshua. This has been Unboxable Kings, and live free as the king you were meant to be. Much love. Peace.